My name is Jason Petrano. I've been with Peckham Industries for about 2 years. I handle all the pricing for the HMA hot mix for the Eastern Division. I had a very good FOB customer out of our Charlton facility. It's been a long-time customer that had done some work for a private customer to do a driveway. I was reached out to. He thought he may have some quality problems with the mix. And asked me if I would reach out and go take a look at it to see what the problem was. So I told him I would. And as soon as I pulled into the driveway, immediately saw a skew of problems. As I approached, I met a very disgruntled customer. After we got past that, he came out and started to tell me his story, which was quite a bit of in-depth problems from start to go. This man had a fairly good grade issue coming into his driveway that never really got corrected, was promised by the contractor would be corrected, and that wasn't the case. So after I spent some time with him, I had given the contractor a call, let him know that this was not a quality problem, that this was indeed a workmanship problem, and that he should probably seek to resolve it as soon as he could. After a short time of conversating with them, the contractor agreed to give him back his money for the driveway. At that time, I reached out to another FOB customer of mine, which was from a different plant, to come on down and assess the situation, which he did, and provided an estimate to fix it. The estimate was a little bit more than his first estimate, but after a short period of time and conversating with him, I left, and then I got some photos about 2 weeks later on how the driveway came out, which was absolutely beautiful. So what started off as a very difficult situation for the customer in instilling some integrity on our products, because it was portrayed that it was a material situation, which it was not. He came back and he got a very beautiful product. He was treated fairly, he was treated honestly by the contractor, and restored some good faith on the material that we had, on which he originally thought may have been the potential problem. This story resonates to me on a lot of levels: honesty, integrity, customer service, all of it. We brought everybody together to make a very bad situation a much better situation. As you promise somebody that you're going to be honest and you're going to do a quality job, the integrity needs to be behind every word you speak.
My name is Anthony Buffoni. I've been with Peckham for, I guess, technically 18 years now, because they purchased my Ozy, and I've been with him for 18 years. And my title is Operations Manager. 2022 season started, everyone was scrambling, and the acquisition was only 20% at play at the moment. So we didn't know what to do. We were still going by old policies, but we needed to do what was right. And we were overcommitted. Our schedule was beyond controllable. And Randy Pike came to me, and as he did every time, he asked me on a personal level, like, how are you? What's going on? How's everything going? And I told him, what I needed to. And at one point I said, Randy, I'm really concerned about our schedule. We are overcommitted. And he said, what do you think would help? And he brought me outside, and the two of us spoke in private. And within an hour, I got a phone call from Greg Peckham. At the time, was the GM for Peckham Road. And he called to let me know that he was here, and anything I needed to let him know. And then he bounced some ideas off of me to ask if I thought it would help. And I said, absolutely. So then within another little while, I got another phone call from Neil, a superintendent at Peckham Road. And he asked me if he brought his mill down, would that help me? And I said, absolutely. So, that's not a big deal per se to get a piece of equipment down there, but this particular piece of equipment was not set up for the way I needed it. It was 3 states away, and it was quite an undertaking to get it here. It needed to be disassembled. It got shipped here on 4 different load beds, and then when we got it, we needed a payloader, a skid steer, mechanics to put the machine back together in the form that I needed it. And that's what they did. And it happened within 3 days, maybe. But by doing that, it made my production go up 30% from where it was. And not only did they send that piece of machinery, but they sent the 2 operators, the foreman, and then Neil himself, because that particular job was at night. Every morning after the shift was over, Neil called me every morning to check in, to make sure that things went well, that they were doing what they were supposed to do, that the machine functioned. It was nothing like I've ever experienced before. It was just quite humbling to know that we had this sort of backing now. Their word is their bond, and the integrity and the core values of everything that they're trying to do is right here in front of you. Now that the acquisition is complete and we are 100% part of the family, it's such a great feeling to go into this 2023 season with all of the support and the tools, the equipment, the personnel, and the backing is just a breath of fresh air. It's very relieving.
My name is Renee Maiozzi. I am the QC/assistant plant manager over at Team Maiozzi LLC in North Kingstown. And I have been with Peckham for about 7 months. Peckham had just started the second half of the acquisition process, so they were still not the majority shareholder of the company. We were finishing up an RIDOT job, a state job, Wampanoag Trail, and I received a phone call, and it was from our 3/8 stone supplier, Rawson Material, and they were in a shutdown. And they were like, I understand that you have a schedule you have to be on. I understand that you have deadlines you have to meet. We cannot meet those. I don't have enough stone for you. I also don't have the time to make more stone for you. I'm panicking because I was fully QC at this point. So I'm not sure what to do. Enter in Peter Semino, Jeff, Matt McDonald, and Jay Miller. Now, all of them kind of came together and they said, we've got a solution. Meet Joe. Joe is from Oxford. He has Oxford 3/8. I talked to Joe. He's awesome, gets me all the paperwork I need, gets me a bucket of 3/8 at the end of the day. I say, okay, this stone's awesome. I'm gonna use it. Let's make a mixed design. I'm able to get the mixed design up and running in a week, which, dealing with the government, nothing goes on a full week. It usually takes months. And I was able to get it approved, all set and good to go. And we were able to start paving that very next week. We were able to make our deadline. We actually stayed within budget, and we had 0 failure tests. So it was awesome. It showed me that we were really able to get together and do that compulsive, like the tinkering, and they really were respecting my opinions when I was coming forward and saying, hey, I want to try this mixed design. I want to try it this way. They said, do what you have to do. It was a lot of freedom for me. They also were so on top of the communication, making sure that I was in the loop and that I felt heard and seen. And it really resonated with me that these people are actually going to be there for me. Peckham honestly cares. They respect you as an individual. They also are innovative in their thinking, in the fact that they were able to think outside the box and introduce me to another aggregate source that I was able to use, because they know that aggregate is a huge problem that I face. They also really held to their values on making sure that I felt that I had all the tools I needed. I had some equipment issues, and Matt called me and said, come down to Palmer, use our equipment. And that was awesome. I had never had that. I mean, I'm, a lab of one. So it really meant a lot to me that they were like sticking their neck out for me.
My name is Danielle Gokul. I've been with Peckham for almost 2 years, and I'm a superintendent. So my story is I came back from maternity leave in October of last year, and it was a chilly morning, and I was out talking to the truck drivers. I was talking to them, and the trucks were stationed a little bit away from the job we were working on in Stanford. And this older lady comes up to me, and she starts asking me if she knows where I can set these, and she has a bag and a box in her hand. And I said, well, what do you have? What do you need to set down? And she said, it's goodies for the paving crew. We want to tell them how good of a job they're doing. And I said, oh, I can take it to them. I'm superintendent. I'm Danielle. Nice to meet you. And she goes, I just got to tell you the story. She goes, I was on my way to drop my grandson off to school this morning. And she goes, he had to stop. He saw the equipment getting going and he had to stop. So he stopped, and we got him out, and he was watching the equipment, and it was like pulling teeth to get him to go to school. So on his way to school, he told me, Grandma, you have to go get them coffee and donuts and take it back to them. They're working really hard. So sure enough, on the bag it says, thank you for all your hard work. We appreciate you guys. You're doing a great job. Love, Brody Reed. Well, come to find out, Brody was 4 years old. Not even thinking, it was a Friday morning. We have a group message with a whole bunch of support staff, superintendents, 18 of us total, including Greg. And I sent a picture of it on my toolbox to them, and I said, I hope you guys are having a good morning like we are. And the response was, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Everybody started answering back. And by the 9 o'clock call that morning, I was asked, how big of a thank you do you think this family will accept from us? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, how big is too big? And I'm like, I don't think anything's too big, I'm not thinking anything of it. By the end of that week, Greg Peckham had sent me a picture of the back of his car, and it was a haul truck, a Caterpillar haul truck, stickered from one end to the other with Peckham stickers. And on the inside of it, it was overflowing with safety gear, toys, Halloween basket, because we were approaching Halloween. And I almost broke down in tears just seeing what Greg had sent me and what everybody had put together. And it was a matter of quite a few people. It wasn't just one person putting it all together. Everybody that heard this story donated something to the back of the box. I guess the real cool part about that is not only did Peckham get their name out there, but this boy will remember this for his entire life. This made his day for, ever. And it was just a really, really cool thing to be a part of. It's the community I live in. My husband knows this kid's father very well, and I didn't even know that until after we gave the truck away. But it's just, this child goes to the same school as my son does, and word gets around so fast, and people had been coming back to me and saying, I can't believe the company you work for, I can't believe a company that big did something like this. And my response is, I can. If you come to work for us, you'd understand. And it's exactly that. I go to work with a family, and I go home to my family, and the work family makes sure that my family at home is taken care of, and it's the same with that community. Peckham really made sure that the community I live in was taken care of, and just by a little boy's simple gesture. So I think just Peckham going out in the community again and showing everybody we care. We're not only here to just do work in your community and make a little noise or dust. We care. If you guys need help in this community, we're here. And that just goes right from management on down. Everybody, I feel like I'm taken care of. The crew feels like they're taken care of. And then, all of a sudden the community, our customers, our vendors, everybody we work with then feels like they're taken care of by us. And I just feel like that demonstrates the Peckham way in multiple ways.
Jay Castamore, sales, and I'm starting my 24th year here in the North Country. A young lady that came to work for Warren County, who was a new employee, was driving a truck and came to the Chestertown asphalt plant to be loaded. She was following one of the guys that had been there a bunch of time. At the time, I believe she came in there thinking, well, if I just do what the guy did in front of me, I'm going to be fine. Well, that didn't happen that way. And while she was being loaded, the truck moved. She let it move, and asphalt began dumping into the cab of the truck. Fortunately, she jumped out of the truck, escaped with, minor burns enough that she had to go to the hospital. It destroyed the truck. We had a real problem. The following day, Peter Semino, vice president at the time, Timmy Needham, myself, Kenny, we had a discussion with Kevin Hajos, who was the highway superintendent or director of public works for Warren County, and we basically told him what happened, as far as we understood it. And right there and then, there was a pledge made by Peter that wouldn't happen again. that we needed to make some major changes at Chestertown to prevent, anybody from being burned again. One of the most fantastic things that happened out of that was the opportunity that Peter kind of charged Kenny and I with. He said, we got to educate people. We can't let people come into our plant that never have been here before. We got to get to the highway superintendents, and if they have a new person on staff, we've got to get them to tell us that they're new, so that we can have our asphalt superintendents or somebody on staff at least go down and kind of walk them through, even if they have to ride with them. Not only did we make many changes at the plant with some signage, some yellow paint, some stop and go buttons that would not allow a truck to move after it got in position. That year we brought almost 600 people to our Hudson Falls facility. We had guest speakers that talked to them about safety. We strive to educate them as much as we could about our plants, about what we expect from them, but what they should expect from us. Those 600 people and the staffs of our customers left here, I believe, with the knowledge and the understanding that we're dedicated to what we say. Our word is our bond. We have integrity. Safety always wins, and I believe that moral is what still allows us to do some great things at Chestertown, and specifically with our great customer, Warren County.